Alright, how's it going, guys? My name is Dan, and welcome to another Payday 2 build guide. Last time I did this was during the old skill tree overhaul. Now with update 100 that was released for Payday 2, they decided to completely revamp the skill trees, and I've done, I think, a video on it before, making a video, but that was in the beta stage. And now, seeing that it's live, things are still set to change in the future, but for now I believe that everything is going to be rather stable, so I could finally make a video. Now, this would be a dodge build video because someone was kind of talking about if I can make another video based on this, and you know who you are, and good on you for actually making me do this, because I would probably hold it off. But sadly, this is not going to be a dodge build. It's going to be more of a grinder build. But wait, there's more. Billy Mays. This build, in my opinion, I feel that this is probably one of the better builds that I have ever made ever, because of the skill beta that now is live. So we're going to go over the skills and why I have them chosen, and during the end of this video there is going to be a little thing that you guys can do if you guys want to change it up to your liking. But there's one thing I do want to mention as well. You guys know that I have a lot of hours on this game, so I am bound to be the highest level in the game as of right now. 25th Infamy, level 100. As far as I know, I would say the infamy bonuses, if you do the basic 5 that originally came before, like the first 5 infamies that came, I wouldn't say towards the beginning of the game because I don't fully remember when they were introduced, but first 5 infamies, they had stuff where it catered towards lessening the cost of stuff for each of the trees. So I don't know if that still plays a part. If it does, then you need to be at least 5th Infamy at level 100 if you want to mimic this exactly. If you're not, I'm sorry, I can't do anything really, because Payday 2 Skills hasn't updated their stuff yet with the new layout of everything. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to let you guys know on some extra feedback behind if you guys want to swap some things up. There's 2 versions of this build that I kind of did. Everything is the same besides one skill is taken out to basic 2 skills. So we're going to get right into it. So in Mastermind, like all my, speedy builds and builds in general, I like to keep myself with Inspire Ace because, to be honest, I've seen not many people run this, or at least run the basic version of it. So having it Ace is always a must in my book. And just having Combat Medic and Painkillers Ace, like I've done before, just catered towards when you revive people, seeing that you'll probably be the one that revives them the most. So it's best to give them some extra help, along with just instantly reviving them. And the main reason why we have Combat Doctor is just to get to Inspire, and the way I run my grinder build now is with ammo bags, because, to be honest, some people grab them, but it's only like 1 or 2, but the 2 is not fully upgraded and all that other stuff. Whereas now, I have, fucking extra lead, apparently Ace, along with Combat Doctor, so in case someone isn't bringing Doctor Bags, you have 2 fully stocked up Doctor Bags, just in the case that happens. So, Confident and Joker. Confident is mainly just to increase your chances for getting someone intimidated, even though the chances are pretty decent now, because I remember in the beta it was like a fucking 75 or 80 chance. It was sky high. Not the skill, just in general, because everyone starts with Dominator Basic just so they can get ones on the ground, but getting them actually converted is with the help of Joker. And we just have it basic. Before, on some of my builds, I do have this aced, so you can actually have 2 converties at the same time, which is fun. Then we have Stable Shot. The Sharpshooter tree is actually going to play a role later on towards the end of this, but we're not going to worry about that now. Underdog is always a thing that I like to carry as well, because you're going to be constantly surrounded by enemies, so it's best to receive less damage for 7 seconds. It's always fun to have, plus it does help out a lot when you get into sticky situations. Now, Resilience aced for the flashbang reduction. That's always fun. I actually didn't know that it was here before. So now that I actually know, it's going to be something that I'm always going to carry with. Transporter basic. Before, you would always have it aced. But now it's useful. But just that small movement speed it's not that noticeable unless you get it to somewhere like 10 or 20 maybe. Then it's probably a little more noticeable, but that's when you're wearing heavy armor and it just kind of cancels out. At least in my opinion. I might be completely wrong, and just shoot me in the face basically. Shock and Awe. This skill is actually going to play a role, like I said, in the Mastermind area, Sharpshooter in particular, but we're going to worry about that later. For anyone who doesn't know, Shock and Awe, of course, the basic version increases your armor recovery rate for you and your crew by 25%, which is always fine and dandy to have that extra recovery rate. The 8th version is where it's at. It enables your weapons to have a chance to knock back shield enemies when attacking them. Range weapons attack chances increased. The higher the total damage the weapon is. Melee damage also has a 100% chance. So it's basically like you had Iron Man aced before, but a tier down, so it's a little bit easier to get. So you don't need to get aced along with the chance to knock them down. At least that's what I remember from the old skill overhaul. But it's always fun. This is so fucking good. I love it to death. You don't need to actually worry about snipers or explosives or whatever, and don't need to waste them. Because all you have to do is just shoot them a few times and they stumble and you can just shoot them in their little fucking asshole or some shit like that. I don't know. And then here for the Enforcer Ammo Specialist area, I just have the entire left side going up because you don't really need to worry about saws unless you want to. Another recommendation I would do is get rid of Bulletstorm maybe and bring the portable saw if you know that you run a lot of things that require the saw. If not, then it's whatever, or just basic both of them so you don't need to waste a little extra points, I guess, just acing it. But who knows, do whatever you need to do. This is just the way I have it built. And then of course extra lead, or ammo specialist as it once was called, for the extra ammo in each bag, so it's 5 times now instead of like 2.5 or 3. And then fully loaded ace. I love what they did with this because it increases the amount of ammo you gain from the ammo boxes by 75. All good and dandy, and you'll also gain a 5% base chance to get a throwable from an ammo box off of the dead SWAT guys, by the way. And the base chance is increased by 1% for each ammo box that you pick up that doesn't contain a throwable, and then once you get one, it resets back to 5%. So that means you don't need to completely rely on grenade cases if you actually place those down in heists. You could actually just run over a bunch of ammo and just grab some. So I'm glad that they did that, and you virtually have unlimited, but your chances, of course, are quite slim. But if you're doing one of the longer heists, then it's going to start noticeably being stacked quite often. Now, in Technician, this is another thing that I found really amazing. Breacher, Hardware Expert, that was kind of just a throwaway. And plus, it's always good to have to fix them, a quarter faster. So that's always fun. Plus, making them silent right off the bat, so you don't need to worry about speccing any higher, which is always fun. Steady grip in the oppressor side, just for the increased weapon stability. And then lock and load basic, so you can hip fire weapons while sprinting. I'm still trying to get used to that actually, but it's still really fun to use when you actually have the chance. Running around with an LMG, just spraying down a hallway, it's fun. And then Surefire aced. The basic version just gives your I almost said weapons, but it is weapons, but more specifically the SMGs, LMGs, and assault rifles, they gain an extra 15 more bullets in the mag. And this doesn't affect the lock and load ace skill. With lock and load, I actually don't remember where that is, but oh well, we'll worry about that later. Anyways, if you guys know what that does, you know what it does. Okay, but the ace version is the main reason why I have this. Your ranged weapons now can pierce through enemy body armor. So you don't need to worry about shooting the tans in the head, even though, you know, it's become accustomed to people, I assume, now. But now, in case you're in a hurry or something, you can just shoot them in the tit, and it works. And this does not apply to throwable weapons, obviously. But it's still really fun to have that it does this. It pierces through armor. It just makes life so much easier now. Even though shooting them in the head is the better alternative because you kill them in one shot virtually. But it's always good to have just in case, you know, you don't want to waste that little time trying to pinpoint the head and wasting less ammo because the body has more mass compared to the head. Kind of, I guess. It does, sure. Don't listen to me at all. Alright, so in Ghost, Artful Dodger, we have Duck and Cover Basic for the stamina regen and moving faster, which is always fun to have. Parkour Ace, so you gain the additional movement speed and increases your climbing up ladders speed by 20%. And the Ace version gains you the ability to sprint in any direction, so you don't need to go any higher up that you did before in order to get there. And you also get the opportunity to run and reload. So combining that with shooting while sprinting, now you're able to run while sprinting. It's glorious, to say the least. It's so fun to use now. And seeing that it's so easy to get makes it even better. And then in the Fugitive Tree, we have 9 lives aced. So you get that extra down just in case you're playing on those harder difficulties. And seeing that you're a little more vulnerable, like you always are, because you're relying solely on health regen and, you know, you're mainly hiding behind cover and stuff. But because of this, you're also able to use any weapon, seeing that you're not hindered to concealment when it comes to a dodge build. It's awesome. And then, kind of a throwaway skill, we just have Martial Arts for the extra less damage, because this is more of a personal preference to me, because I see myself being right in the face of 5 different dudes, and I'm being meleeed constantly by them. So it's good to actually have that reduced damage. Now that we're done with everything, let me tell you what one thing I would recommend you guys doing. If you don't really mind the shields and you like carrying snipers or anything that can pierce through them, feel free to get rid of Shock and Awe aced. Before I actually had it like this, I had Stable Shot aced, and then I had High Value Target for spotting enemies, or the specials. They take 15% more damage. And Aggressive Reload, so it increases your reload speed with SMGs and assault rifles and snipers by 15%. So that's always fun to have. But to be honest, it's not really fully needed, seeing that you can just run and reload instead of, you know, reloading in mid-combat and just having the quicker advantage. At least that's how I have it played. But this is now how I have it, obviously, with the Stable Shot and Shock and Awe, because there's a lot of shields that you need to worry about. Plus, again, having the ability to reload while sprinting, you could just run away for a minute while you reload, you know, your 6-second weapon, instead of sitting there in the midst of the hallway just taking shots while you're reloading and then shoot them down. And it is fun to have the faster reload, but for the sake of this build and how I have it set and how I find what works for me best, this seems to be my go-to. So now for perk decks, this is kind of if you own DLC or if you don't. So the way I have it run is with Grinder, obviously, because of the life steal you get from dealing damage to enemies. Another one I would recommend is Ex-Presidents. I've used this before when it came to builds. I actually made a build completely dedicated to it before that still utilized everything how I do normally, sprinting, a dodge grinder type thing. But Ex-President is fun, especially if you're playing on the harder difficulties and you're one of those guys that like to sit back or have your enemy or your teammates in the higher armor ratings doing all the damage, because if you have it maxed out, or at least somewhat how it is in general, I don't remember where it needs to be, but your teammates actually help you with your life steal, or storing health, I should say, when it comes to using ex-presidents, which is always fun. Another one that I would find very beneficial is the new Anarchist deck, and I use this a little bit because dealing damage grants you 10 armor, and this occurs once every 1.5 seconds, along with whatever it says here, converts your health into armor. And before, with the lightweight, which we're going to be using on this build, before it had 50 armor. Now, if we look at it, it has 188, but again, you are less health. So keep that in mind, but it allows you to tank a little bit more, and it seems that Anarchist actually works well with dodge players. But for the sake of this, either Grinder, Ex-Presidents, Anarchist if you're feeling brave, or if you find anything else that works well with you, then it works well with you. But for the weapons, that's more on you. You can use anything, actually. Like, see, we have no skills here based in anything. Like, we have nothing for Akimbo because Akimbo's unlocked for everybody. And we don't have anything for the saw because the portable saw is only unlocking it as a secondary weapon, which, to be honest, not many people fully use. But having it, you know, just in the beginning is always fun to have, so anyone can bring it. Whereas portable saw is just if you want to have a primary, and then your secondary be the saw. So you can virtually use any weapon. Concealment does not matter. This is how I run things now. I don't really run dodge ever. It's actually really fun without running dodge because you're not hindered by concealment. But you still have the speed dedicated towards it. And there's actually one thing that I want to try to find. It's really fun to use. I believe I actually have it, maybe. But there is a skill in here. Right, yeah, Second Wind. That's what I don't think I talked about before. Second Wind, when your armor breaks, your movement speed is increased by 30% for 5 seconds, and having it aced increases it. So when your teammates' armor breaks, it triggers as well. And as far as I know, this stacks. So if you have 4 people with this, and all your armor breaks at the same time, if my math is correct, and I hope it is, you get 120% extra movement speed for 5 seconds. And that is not counting if you get inspired with the increased movement speed there as well, along with all your skills. So virtually you're going to be moving like a fucking speed demon, if that's the case. And I might actually test that out in a Hawkson breakout. I might try that actually with some friends. Have all of us have Second Wind, all of our armor breaks, inspire me or each other or whatever, and then just sprint throughout the entire map and see how fast we go. So when that happens, there will be a video on it. Quote me on that. There will be a video. But anyways, that is the skills, that is the weapons, that is the perk deck, and that is the end of the video. Alright, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this build helps. If you have any other things like, oh, you know, would be interesting if you took out this skill and maybe added it with this, and then, it'll do this, then do let me know. I'll try it out, and I'll give you some feedback on it. Or if I think it's just downright stupid, then I might just say, I just might stick with mine. But most likely, I'll give your build a try, or at least tweak my build to see how it is and how you played it. Anyways, that's going to end it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope that this was informative for you guys. I enjoyed making it, and I hope you guys enjoy looking at Sydney with a really cool looking mustache and rainbow hair. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching. Like your favorite if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you have not already to not miss any of these videos in the future. My name is Dan, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Have an awesome day, guys.